and I'm Steve Forbes, and you're watching Traders Nation.
Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have with us here today Dee Carter, founder of the Carter Financial Group and author of It's Now or Never, How to Enjoy Your Life and Not Let Your Investments Own You. Dee, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Thank you, Kurt. I appreciate it. Doing well, thanks.
Sure. Good. Hey, Dee, what brought you to write It's Now or Never?
You know, I had two things in mind, Kurt, when I wrote this. Number one, obviously, I've been in the business for financial services business for over 40 years. Yeah. And I find people grossly unprepared to find an advisor. They just don't know how to go about it. So I wanted to make sure that there was a way that I could take a book, make it something simple, relate to my life story, and at the same time to be able to find the right advisor and ask them the right questions, know what they were looking for, and give them some guidance in that field. Second reason was I find that advisors are being trained the same way I was when I got my securities license back in 1974, and we live in a whole different world today. So hopefully some advisors will also read the book and realize that there may be a better way and a better way to go about taking care of your clients. So those two reasons are the reason I came to write the book.
Yeah, Dee, you agree, because you just said, I mean, that whole industry has evolved into a whole nother animal, hasn't it, since the 1970s?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're moving more from, as people get older, we're moving more toward income-type products, and I don't think the industry has really learned that yet. So I'm trying to help those guys that are out there doing the growth things. There's nothing wrong with that. I've done growth with my clients as well. But when they get older, you really need to start thinking about income, and that's why I wrote the book. That's one of the main reasons for it. Yeah.
All right. So listen, a lot of folks took a beating over the Great Recession. You know, savings, people lost savings, what they had. Sadly, right? And in some cases lost everything. What can they do to recover and get back on track at this point, Dee?
You know, it's amazing. If they look at the formula that I use with my clients called total income or total return equals growth plus income, they'll find that income products out there today, there's a lot of great income-type products that can help you return, and you don't have to worry about the market taking the downturn that it's going to take eventually. As you and I both know, Kurt, we're sitting here looking at a market that's grossly overpriced right now, and it's on the danger of doing the same thing it did in 2008 and 2009. So we're guiding them toward the safe type products, or the safer type products that have a really good return, and yet they're income based as opposed to growth based. You can get a good recovery. You can recover without having to worry about the downturns.
Yeah, I was just going to say, are those void of any rollover, or safe from any rollover, or what?
Well, yeah, most of them are the kind of products that you're going to be looking at. You know, I can give you some ideas along those lines as far as you're looking at some type of preferred stocks, maybe something along the lines if you like that sort of thing. Okay. But that's what we're really kind of moving people toward. The guaranteed type stuff.
Yeah, sure. Hey, I'm going to make a quick right turn in your book, and it's about one of the passages that you have in there where Willie comes in to buy a car from your dad. Okay? Yeah. And listen, and let me tell you something, because I have something that's very, very similar to that. When I was much younger, okay, I looked like I didn't have 2 nickels to rub in my pocket. I walked into a dealership looking like this, and I looked up on the steps. On the very top of the steps, we had 4 salesmen up there, okay? And they all looked at me, and they all looked at the new guy, and they elbowed the new guy, Dee, right? So I knew, okay, here's the new guy, right? So the new guy comes down to me and starts talking to me. 12 hours later, I'll get to the point. 12 hours later, Dee, we drove out. There were 2 brand new cars, and the new guy made his first sale, and it was 2 brand new cars. So
well, this is what, and we do this with clients all the time. I have people. I had a gentleman came in my office yesterday that in his work clothes, he looked like he was working for a local company here. He was. I saw the tag and his name on it. But it turns out the guy's got a huge amount of money in a 401k, and he's getting ready to retire. A lot of guys wouldn't even talk to him. But we make it a habit here. There's no such thing as a small client. The people that have the least amount of money probably need the most amount of help.
That's right.
So we never turn away. And I learned that from that passage that I wrote in the book about Willie, and my dad taught me that lesson a long, long time ago. Never turn your back on a client. You may be walking away from a huge situation.
Yeah, absolutely. And all those guys, and I can tell you, with your experience, your dad's experience, and my experience, some people lost because they thought they read the book and they didn't, okay? They just looked at the cover. and they missed out on the inside. So nonetheless, let's go on to this. So you're right about you don't have to retire, all right? But you should plan for it.
No, you don't have to, but you
right?
should plan to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that. You don't have to retire. I haven't retired, and I certainly am old enough to do so.
Yeah.
But you certainly need to plan to, so that if anything happens to you during the period of time that you didn't retire, that forces you into it, you don't panic. It's taken care of. You've
Sure.
literally put your money back aside. You know you've got the money there to retire on if you want to.
Yeah.
But I'm finding more and more, Kurt, that people want to work. They want to continue to work. They love what they're doing. They're making you make the most money during the last 5 to 10 years of your career anyway.
Yeah.
And people really enjoy that. So I'm telling people, you don't have to retire, but you certainly need to plan to, because you're not in charge of what may happen to you sometimes. Things that can really take place that can change your whole life in a moment, in a flash of an eye. It just happened to one of my clients recently. His wife was killed in a bicycle accident. Changed his whole life.
Right.
But his wife, who was a doctor, had prepared for a retirement, and it was passed on to her husband, and now they're okay. He doesn't have to worry about where his money's coming from, because his wife prepared for it, even though she didn't plan to do it.
It's almost not like plan for retirement. It's almost like plan for retirement plus plan for something that might blindside you, and so
Absolutely.
You're financially taken care of, and it's in place, right, Dee? That's basically what we're looking at.
That's exactly right, and I don't think the average guy that do what I do on the street have really prepared their clients for those type of situations.
Yeah.
Long-term care is something rarely do you ever hear people talk about that are preparing people for retirement. But I talk about it to my clients every time they come in, and there are products out there that they can get into at a reasonable amount.
Sure.
Even some products that you don't have to pay premiums on that can be turned into long-term care.
Yeah.
So we prepare for the emergency and the things like that. Yeah. Prepare to retire, but you don't have to.
Long-term care, I tell you what, I'm very familiar with that space. Unfortunately, we're almost out of time. I'd love to get into that part, but we can't. Let me ask you something here before we run out of time. The best defense, is that a good offense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you can defend yourself, I mean, football is one that way.
Sure.
All football coaches know that. The best defense is a good offense. And we need to make sure we defend what we've got. Once you get to a certain place, the games change. You get a few points ahead. You don't just keep on running the ball and throwing the passes. You literally start getting a little bit more conservative in order to protect what you've got.
Yeah.
And we are in that business. We're in the income business trying to protect people's assets. So when they do get ready to retire, there's plenty of money there for them to last them the rest of their life.
Yeah. Is it never too late to start? You know, like I said, some people got beat up in the Great Recession. Never too late to start saving?
It's never too late to start. It just takes a little bit more concentration, a little bit more commitment, if you will, to what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
And we have people coming all the time that have started, they think they've started too late, but we're able to show them how they can keep from it. And that's one of the things the book addresses, and I'm glad you brought that point out.
Yeah, I mean, what would be some of the things that they would do, for instance, if they're still working, maybe the bonuses, they can put some of that bonus money away? It's like found money, right?
That's one thing, and I do point that out in the book, but they also need to make sure that their savings are on a regular basis instead of just haphazard. I point that out early in the book, that you plan for it and you actually make a commitment to put so much away. And that works later in your life as well. As you're earning more, then obviously more of a percentage of your income should ought to go toward that savings account or that retirement plan that you probably have ignored for a while.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, where can we get a copy of It's Now or Never?
We can get it on Amazon.com. You can go there, or you can go to Barnes & Noble's. It's on both places.
Yeah.
And you can get it on, just go online, pick it up, and we'll be glad. By the way, all the proceeds to Amazon, the book are going to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and it's a charity that's near and dear to my heart. That's
wonderful.
Where it goes.
Dee Carter's with us today. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.